Sometimes you just have to reevaluate where you're at. Start things off, I was a little upset with my performance this week. Our I rating went down from a 1430 at the beginning of the week to an 1165 by the end. Our safety rating went from a B 2.43 down to a 2.17. So overall, kind of a setback in my mind, and I'm kind of reevaluating things, trying to get a handle on what I need, where we need to go from here. In the Michelin Pilot Series, it was at Okayama, and overall in that series in our Division 7 we're 13th place. Our average start is 5th and our average finish is 6th. For the week, our average start and finish are the same. We are at 58th. We placed 58th this week. We got our best time from our first race, from a 1:41.151 down to a 1:40.222, which was kind of where I was a little upset with myself, considering our old best time at that track was a 1:39.859 when it was in the turn series earlier in the season. And looking back, we didn't run that. We ran about 3 races this week here. If we would have ran more races, we maybe could have gotten back to that time and maybe beat it by a little bit, but I was frustrated at not being able to reach that time right off the bat, and well, I kind of gave up on it, and that is something that I think I'm typically a little bit better at, but I need to reevaluate things more in the moment and understand why I'm shying away from things that are difficult. But we'll look at that going forward. But as always, here are the results from those races. Now, the turn series was at Watkins Glen, and we had some success in previous races and seasons at Watkins Glen. That's where we got our first wins last season, was at this track, but those were in splits, I have to remind myself. Overall, this in the turn series, we are P9 in our division with an average start of 6th and an average finish of 7th. This week we placed 67th in this series in our division with an average start of 8th and an average finish of 9th, doing 128 laps of Watkins Glen in total during races. Now, our best time on our first race was a 2:03.422, and we got that down to a 2:01.777 in practice and a 2:01.529 in a race. Now, these are the best times we've hit on this track ever, so I'm a little proud of that. However, our performance overall left a little bit to be desired in my mind. With a lot more participation, I saw a lot more folks doing times around the 2-minute mark, or being able to hit those 2:01s consistently where we were not able to. I was probably around the low 2:03s, mid 2:02s for most of my laps. Those 2:01s were outliers. I think we hit those 2:01 times maybe like 4 or 5 laps of all those 128 that we did. They were somewhat uncommon, which brings me to what I'm thinking about, which is I need to reevaluate where I'm at. We've had some success over the past few weeks in finishing with a higher I rating than we start out with, and I need to rethink where my actual skill level is versus where I think it is. And sometimes, you know, people come in and they say, hey, wow, I remember when you were around like 700 I rating, you're doing really good now, which, you know, we are better. But I also have to realize that there's a lot more people doing these races now, and they're good too. you know, and then there's the folks that aren't so good. And we're going to kind of talk a little bit about some of the stuff that happened to us this week. There was a fella who, during a race that had some moments, we avoided quite a bit of carnage. Pardon the little rhyming pun there. Through a lot of the first lap of this race and a little bit of the second, only to have a fella decide that it was time to rejoin the course by reversing onto the track at high speed, and his timing could not have been worse, at least from our perspective. It kind of ruined our day, and my confidence, I think, faltered after that point. But we kept going at it, and I was able to get some more passing done. I kind of learned, and I don't know if this is good sportsmanship or not, but that I could, if I got pulled up along somebody, often beat them through the bus stop. And I don't know if that's a poor sportsmanship move or not, but we got it done. There's one race where we got that move done, and I think I frustrated the guy that I passed, and well, turnabout's fair play. He pulled the same move on us the next lap, and he got back around us, and that was towards the end of the race, so we weren't able to, you know, turn it back around. And let's see, another time we were having a pretty decent race until a fella in front of us hit the wall and just kind of bounced back into the track. There wasn't anything he could do about it. His wheels weren't on the ground. He couldn't have stopped his car had he tried. And I just did not anticipate it well enough to avoid the collision. We were able to get some other moves done pass-wise that I think I'm getting a little bit more confident in those kind of maneuvers. And I have to think, even if we're not increasing as quickly as I would like in outright pace, I am still learning more skills on some of the things that I thought I was weaker at weeks ago. Remember when I kept on saying how I need to work on being able to pass folks? I'm stuck behind these slow cars. I'm not able to get around them. Well, we've been working on getting better at that, and I think I'm succeeding in learning that skill. Outright pace is not the only thing that's going to get you that iRating increase or skill increase. We're not out here just absolutely chasing iRating. We just want to get better so we can be more competitive. iRating seems to correlate with that somewhat. So, with all that being said, I think I'm about ready to kind of reset my expectations. Maybe not be so excited at going back to tracks that I think I'm familiar with, and realizing that I'm not as good at them as I thought I may be, and just kind of being happy with small improvements, which was the whole point of this series anyway. I'm getting my ego needs to get back in check a little bit, I think. Because next week we are heading to the Charlotte Roval in the Turn series, which I had an okay time at last season. The beginning part of the bus stop, we had some trouble with hitting little spins, and when we got off balance there. We'll be reunited with our old friend Mr. Coney. Link to that video up above. And in the Michelin Pilot series, we go to Circuit Zolder, a track that I'm not super familiar with. I tried to match Hexen's lap time there in the Aston Martin DBR7 when he issued that challenge to me, I wasn't able to do it. I got close, but couldn't quite match his speed there. But I got a lot of practice, so we'll see how that goes. As always, there's a like, subscribe, and bell icon down below. The clicks really help out. We're, as the time of I'm recording this, at 99 subscribers. We're almost to 100. And head on over to twitch.tv/thepiltdownman if you want to follow along live. Till next time, keep getting good. Bye.